Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm David from Hybrid's Backyard, and after playing Halo 1, 2, 3, we're down to ODST. Now, I remember the name, did not remember the game. I do remember playing it when I was younger in the arcades though, but for some reason my head just couldn't remember anything about it. So, weirdly enough, I thought it was a sequel. Kind of a grave mistake on my part, I guess. It's actually set in between Halo 2 and 3, and instead of playing the Master Chief, you play as an orbital shock trooper called Rookie. After the Covenant strike, you drop down the planet, sleep for way too long, and wake up to complete destruction, a touch of sadness, and a spoonful of solitude. My first thought when the game started, holy shit, it's Nathan Fillion, and fuck me, he's my boss. They even freaking modeled the character after the goddamn guy, so you can imagine that after 5 minutes of starting the game, I'm already 11 out of 10, and if you don't like the game, you can, fuck off. And don't forget to like and sub before you do, alright? After my initial shock, you drop down, start the game, and it's awesome. Completely different feeling from the regular Halos. The enemies are the same, the guns are the same, the gameplay is the same, even the freaking graphics are the same, well, the same as Halo 3, I guess, but yeah, the ambience is different. When you're playing as Rookie, it feels lonely. The streets are mostly empty, they give a weird vibe that you're basically late for the party. Every objective you encounter gives you a flashback related to a member of your team, which happens during the day, while you technically overslept. And they all tell the story of how they survived and what happened to them. All of those stories are awesome, not a single one felt tedious or uninteresting. They all happen in different part of town and are vastly different from one another, so it isn't boring at all. Honestly, yeah, that's just it. They're just fine. But where everything feels interesting, Rookie's story, at least for me, for most of the game, I felt was quite slow. Walking through empty streets, even though it feels right, because, it's a war zone, so I guess there's not that much going on there, it becomes a bit tedious at some point, because everything looks the same. It's always nighttime, it's always the same building, it's always the same street, always the same interior of buildings, except there's a few enemies here and there once in a while. But don't get me wrong, alright? The story is not boring or bad. I feel it's just a side product of being alone in a deserted city after everyone got separated, so you have to wait for every objectives, and God, they deliver there. Actually, I even felt compelled to make my way around to them, and they were good enough for me to feel satisfied and interested in the next one before even finding out what they were all about. I mean, you finish one, and you're already like, oh, I'm looking forward to the next one, which, honestly, there's not a lot of game that gets right, in my opinion. Having that kind of interest in the missions that you do is really, really good. One point that the game really hits home with is the feeling of being part of something. Instead of being like the previous Halos, where you're basically a giant killing machine that doesn't really care about the Marines and that can kill anything with their bare hands, in this one you're just the Marines. Granted, the slightly better type of Marines. We can throw grenade twice as far as Master Chief, and technically, we're just as tanky as he is, and we use the same weapon, drive the same vehicle, kill just as many enemies as he does, and yeah, what's different? We have a team, Master Chief has Cortana, and technically us. We have individual stories. He's got some in Halo 1, 2, 3. We have names, guy, he's called John. Faces, we do have fucking faces. He doesn't have one before Halo 4, so we're good. And I think the perspective is different. Playing as the underdog is honestly a breath of fresh air. You look through the eye of the little guy and it makes the entire game much more awesome than it feels like when you start it, actually. The graphics are the same as Halo 3. The MCC upgrades, honestly, 4K 60 FPS of pure goodness is awesome. The music is just mwah, and the entire thing just comes together nicely. It's like a little sexy package that manages to milk Bungie's work one last time without being excessive in any way. Anyhow, I guess that you guys get the point. The game is just as nice, and probably as good if not better than the original. It checks all the usual boxes of a good Halo release, but adds emotions, faces, and names to meaningful character that you honestly would have just passed aside in the previous releases. And with so little flaws for me so far, I'm happy to give it again 11 out of 10. People who don't play get cancer, allegedly. Now, if you feel like I do about the game, just leave it in the comments, or even if you hated it, just let me know about it. I also accept criticism, checks, transfers, PayPal, whichever you like the most. Thank you for watching, guys. I know I've had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had some too. I'll see you soon and much love.
We went through hell for that?
Give him some meds, would you?
It's impossible.